Hello, my dear students. How are you all? I hope so that you all will be in a good health. Do you know, students, that you can see a large number of living organisms around you? However, do you know that there are a large number of living organisms around you as well as inside your body? And you cannot see them with your naked eyes. These microorganisms or these tiny living organisms are called microorganisms, which you cannot see through your naked eyes. So the organisms that are so small that they can only be seen through a microscope are called microorganisms, and the study of this microorganism is called microbiology, and the scientists who are studying about these microorganisms are called microbiologists. So now the question is that where are microbes found? Now students, have you ever think about this, that your elders, every time your elders, either your teachers, your parents, every time they used to say they used to advise you that you have to wash your hands before having your meal, or if you want to have anything, you have to wash your hands. Why it is so? It is so because in your hands also the little or the tiny microorganisms is being found. So you have to wash your hands properly with the soap before putting anything into your mouth with these hands. So the microorganisms which is being found everywhere in any type of environment, you can say, whether it is hottest or it is coldest or it is polar region, everywhere you will find these microorganisms, either it is in air or it is in soil, everywhere you will find these microorganisms. Now the question is how they can survive in the hottest as well as in the coldest region. Yes, there is a reason of that. What the microorganisms do, they form they are known as a very hardy. I have written a word, they are very hardy. Because why they are hardy? Because they just, whenever the condition is not favorable to them, they will just form a cyst, a very hard covering around them, and this covering is called cyst. And they form this cyst around them when they just form this cyst when the condition is not favorable to them. I mean, if there is a temperature is very high or the temperature is very low, what the microorganisms used to do, they form a cyst around them. They survive by remaining inactive within the cyst. What does this mean? This means that they will just hide themselves inside that very cyst and they just become inactive during the unfavorable condition. And as the favorable condition comes, they start and they become active. Now coming to types of microorganisms. The first type of microorganism is bacteria. These are the oldest organisms. They are unicellular and exist everywhere, whether it is in air, water, soil, in bodies of living organisms, and bacteria are found in different shapes. They are unicellular and they are found in different shape. Bacteria you can see through the microscope also. Now there are different shapes of bacteria. The first example of rod-shaped bacteria is bacillus. The bacillus is a bacteria and the shape of this bacteria is rod-shaped. So it is called rod-shaped bacteria. Second is coccus, and the shape of coccus is spherical. So it is found in spherical shape. The third is spirillum, and spirillum, it is in spiral shape. As the name is indicating spiral, so the shape of this spirillum is spiral. Now the fourth is vibrio, and vibrio is found in curved shape. This is another shape of the bacteria and it is found in curved shape. So here I have just tell you we have learned about 4 shaped bacteria. Now coming to protozoa, the next type of microorganism is protozoa. So the protozoa is again a single celled organism. Here it is also the single cell organism, and when we are coming to protozoa, protozoas are also single celled organisms. They have animal-like characteristics. What animal-like characteristics? See, we animals or the human beings or the animals, we just move from one place to another. This you have done in your previous classes also, that human beings or the animals, they just move from one place to another in search of food. The same here, the protozoa also, they behave like animals and they just move from one place to another in search of food, and wherever they just found the food, they capture the food and they just take inside that very food. If I am taking the example of amoeba, here I have given the example of protozoa, the 3 types of protozoa. I mean the 3 protozoa is the example. First is amoeba, paramecium and euglena. Now I'll just make you clear about this, that how they'll capture the food. They are the single celled, even though they just move from one place to another to capture the food. The shape of amoeba, if you will say, it is like this, right? And these are called pseudopodia, and these pseudopodias work like legs of this amoeba. So it moves with the help of these legs like this only. It moves like this, contract and then expand, contract and then expand, and wherever the amoeba found the food, what the amoeba just close its pseudopodia and the food comes in between the pseudopodia. In this way the amoeba capture the food. So there are the different methods in different protozoans to take the food. This is one which I explained you, that they behave like animal. Now next is fungi. Fungi, plant-like organisms that do not contain chlorophyll. These are the group of diverse, you can say, organisms that feed on decaying matter. The fungi always feed on decaying matter. They are like plants but do not have chlorophyll. So they cannot prepare food. They cannot prepare food and they do not have chlorophyll, so they cannot carry out the process of photosynthesis. Some fungi are unicellular. If you will see, some fungi are unicellular, and the example of unicellular fungi is yeast. The other fungi, it can be multicellular, and the example of multicellular fungi is mold. This is yeast, and yeast is unicellular. It is fungi. It is fungi, but it is unicellular. It means what? That fungi can be unicellular and it can be multicellular, right? Understand? Now next is algae. It is algae. What are algae? These are group of simple plants. Again, the algae are also group of simple plants. Though they do not have any root and shoot system, they are plant-like organism. They do not have any root and shoot system. They, even though they may be unicellular and they may be multicellular. They have cell wall. The algae have cell wall and chlorophyll within the cell. They can be unicellular or multicellular. And it used to be lives in water bodies like you can say the river, you can say the pond, you can say you can say the oceans. So the nearby, they can also survive between the rocks also. So in this way, wherever they will be moist, the algae start growing, right? Now after this, the virus, this is the smallest microorganism. when we are talking about virus, it is the smallest microorganism, and nowadays you can better understand. Nowadays it has been you are very much familiar with this word coronavirus. So what is virus? Virus is smallest organisms. These all are small, but this is virus, and virus is smallest organism. Smallest organism means these are the tiniest, you can say, the microorganisms. Virus cannot be seen with ordinary microscope. It is so tiny that it cannot be seen through the ordinary microscope. They can be seen with powerful electron microscope, right? The scientists used to use this electron microscope if they will study about the virus. So what is the specification of that the electron microscope? An electron microscope can magnify an image up to 200,000 times. Such a big image in an electron microscope, if you will see, you can see such a magnified image. So the virus can also be seen through this electron microscopes. Viruses are different from other microbes. If you will just read about the virus, they are not like other microbes. They can multiply and grow only inside the cell of other living organisms. See about the virus. It is very atypical. If you will see the virus, now that viruses, to observe viruses, scientists use electron microscope. They cannot reproduce by themselves. This is the feature. See, the viruses cannot be reproduced by themselves. They respond to change, to use energy or grow, and this seems to indicate that they are not living organisms. When they are outside the cell, they behave like non-living organism. But however, when viruses enter the living cell of any organism like human, they will behave, they will start reproducing, and reproducing is a very important characteristics of life. So the scientists, they consider the virus, it is the border of, they are the non-living as well as living. So they are the chain, or they are the bridge of living and non-living, because when they are just outside, they will not behave like a living organism. But when they just inside the living organism, inside the cell of living organism, they start reproducing. And you know, they start very rapidly, they reproduce. And after sometimes what happened? When the one cell form the thousands of viruses, then the host cell is being burst and it is being died. This process, and you know what why this viruses is very harmful. You know, the viruses use the host energy. It will whatever you are eating, the virus will eat from, and they will eat from you. So this is being called that viruses are very dangerous, you can see, for the people, for the living the organisms. So in this way we have learned about microorganisms, what are microorganisms, and we have done where these microorganisms are found, and types of microorganisms also we have done. So all 5 types of microorganisms we have done, and we have also studied about specifically the virus, why it has been the chain, or why it has been the bridge of living and non-living organisms. So this is all for today class. In next class, we will study more about microorganisms. Thank you and have a good day.